The rain poured down in relentless sheets, turning the streets of Chicago into rivers of shimmering gray. Emily Harper tightened her threadbare coat around her, blinking against the cold drizzle as she glanced down at the crumpled flyer in her hand. Piano teacher wanted. No experience necessary. It was her 5th job interview this week, and like the others, she had little hope it would lead to anything. Emily had moved to the city 6 months ago, chasing a dream that had quickly dissolved into the harsh reality of overdue bills and rejection letters. She'd grown up playing the piano in her grandmother's small-town living room, filling the house with music that seemed to hold the world together. But in the big city, talent wasn't enough. She'd been told no more times than she could count. But her grandmother's words echoed in her mind: when life pushes you down, you stand up and try again. So here she was, wet, cold, and clutching onto hope by its fraying edges. The address led her to a modest community center, its faded blue sign barely visible through the rain. She hesitated at the door, staring at her reflection in the glass, damp hair plastered to her face, mascara smudged, eyes tired. Not exactly the picture of confidence, she thought. But with a deep breath, she pushed the door open. Inside, the warmth hit her immediately, along with the faint scent of old wood and fresh coffee. A woman with kind eyes and silver-streaked hair greeted her. "You must be Emily," she said, extending a hand. "I'm Margaret, the center's director. Thank you for coming." Emily shook her hand, feeling the warmth in her palm spread to her chest. For the first time in days, someone was looking at her like she belonged. Margaret led her to a small, slightly out-of-tune piano in a room filled with mismatched chairs and faded posters. "We don't have much," Margaret admitted, "but we have kids who need music. Some of them, well, they've been through more than most adults ever will." Emily nodded, understanding more than she could say. She sat at the piano, fingers hovering over the keys, and played the first song that came to her mind, a soft, familiar lullaby her grandmother used to hum. The notes weren't perfect, but they were honest. When she finished, Margaret smiled, eyes glistening. "You're exactly what we need." Weeks turned into months. Emily found herself returning to the community center day after day, teaching kids who had never touched a piano before. There was Liam, a quiet boy with a chipped tooth and a laugh that filled the room when he finally got a chord right. And Ava, whose fingers danced over the keys as if they'd been waiting their whole life to find music. But it was Malik who changed everything. Malik was 12, with eyes that held stories he never spoke out loud. He sat in the back, arms crossed, refusing to participate. But Emily noticed the way his gaze lingered on the piano, how his fingers tapped rhythmically against his knee when he thought no one was watching. One day, as the other kids filtered out, Emily approached him gently. "Want to give it a try?" she asked. He shook his head, but his eyes betrayed him, a flicker of longing. Emily didn't push. Instead, she sat at the piano and began to play, soft and slow. After a few moments, she felt him beside her, silent but close. She slid over, leaving room on the bench. "Whenever you're ready," she whispered. It took days, but one afternoon, Malik sat down beside her. His hands trembled as he touched the keys, but Emily guided him, patient and steady. The first notes were clumsy, but then, something shifted. The music flowed, not perfect, but raw and powerful. From that day on, Malik was the first to arrive and the last to leave. Music became his language, his escape. And Emily watched as the walls he'd built around himself began to crumble. One evening, after a small recital at the center, Malik handed Emily a crumpled note. She unfolded it, her heart tightening as she read his messy handwriting. "Thank you for not giving up on me. You taught me more than music. You showed me I'm more than my mistakes." Tears blurred her vision, but she smiled through them. In that moment, Emily realized something profound. She had spent so long searching for success, measuring her worth by jobs and opportunities missed. But here, In this small, worn room with mismatched chairs and an out-of-tune piano, she had found something far more meaningful. She had found purpose. Years later, as Emily watched Malik walk across the stage to receive a scholarship for music, she felt that same warmth in her chest. Life had knocked her down, but she had stood up, again and again. And in doing so, she had helped others rise too. Because sometimes, success isn't about the doors that open for you. It's about the doors you help open for others. And when life gets hard, when dreams seem out of reach, all you need to do is try again.